Okay, this is some Africa Times news, thunder and lightning reaction. It's gonna be some reaction. I might as well get the audio up because I've been prone to lowering my volume here. So I'm gonna get the audio backed up with the workstation here, so that we can be ensured that I have some proper volume levels here for the final upload. I got to do a bunch of uploads to get my artist affairs for Free Life Records in order. Have some admin for that. I have to do more Africa Times news work, and that'll give me more options, they're saying, with the social media. And so I'm giving a reaction to this Trump. This New York Times post for this Trump address in Arizona against the transgender lunacy that the president-elect is attempting to have some corrective actions towards. And I think it ties in with justice reform, because you don't want to have a Band-Aid approach. And it ties in with justice reform and the court systems, the same court systems that are breaking up families, attacking fathers' rights, are the same courts that are creating the environment for the lunacy with the genders. And so I think they both need to be addressed to ensure that it's a comprehensive, that there's a comprehensive corrective action against lunacy. And so I'm gonna touch in on some of the article, and speak on that. You know, we talk about the Dems, they understand this, and that's why that judge, you know, was given these, you know, he was given the pardon, but there was an ecosystem that paid him kickbacks to send children to you know, the concentration camps. And see, and you can have these parental foster placements as part of those concentration camps, because they will come to court and not divulge information about other placements. Okay, so if they're not divulging other information about other placements, of course they're not going to tell you about things about their residency that's not suitable for the child. So they're part of those concentration camps, and that's part of the situation that I'm enduring with the kidnapping of my second son, that they exploited the COVID hoax situation about to suppress my ability to have court representation. And that's also proven in the video upload that I have. When I was eventually able to get a video conference, as soon as I dial in, they canceled the call and canceled the court proceeding. And basically, as I say, Patrick Murphy down there in the Child Protective Court, he prevented me from coming to court, and I have that on the YouTube in May of 22. That was when he prevented me from having that court, and then they have immediately expedited the rest of the kidnapping processes against my rights. And then they place black appellate courts who use excuses as technicalities, jurisdiction, and all this stuff to violate my 14th Amendment argument for for my rights that that finalized, until I take it to the Supreme Court and have a collective, a collective assurance that I won't be just wasting my time with litigation against a corrupt cabal, anti-fathers' rights system with the Supreme Court. And they had a Howard graduate, a black guy from he was an Iowa graduate, and an Indian appellate here in the First Circuit here, who facilitated the kidnapping further of my son. And so, that's why I say with Trump, you want to have fathers' rights to be a justice reform implementation of your policies to prevent an attack at the root this transgender lunacy. I guarantee you, most of them are going to be people who were kidnapped from the village mindset against the father. Okay, so you have to attack as official policy and allow us to have a sanctuary state for fathers where we can come. We're not trying. Most of these fathers who have our children kidnapped from us, we don't want to take the children away from a relationship with their mother, as most of these mothers have done with the mindset of the courts. They know that they have to be in complete vicious antagonistic mode against fathers' rights. Okay. President-elect has vowed to immediately stop transgender lunacy. And a part of that lunacy is a suppression of that father who would have wanted to raise that child. That's part of the lunacy. You have to alienate him, make him a monster against that choice. These are the people who are alienated when you're creating that lunacy. Okay? That's what they did with my son. Immediately, two months after they completely ran over my temporary custody hearings in August of 2019, 2 months after that, they had passports ready for my son to be trafficked with homosexuals who they had him in a placement with. 2 months after, the passport was already flying my boy around the country to make their point against that lunacy about how they're in control. Okay, and so this is what they do to fathers. They rejoice in demonstrating that lunacy. And so you have to be comprehensive. This policy can be overthrown as soon as they take back office, or they would use it as some type of grandstanding attempt in their states. In the states and the cities that they control. Not the states, they don't control any states, but in the cities that they control. Okay, and the solution is not saying, okay, a dildo with no lube or something like that Don Jr. has recently said. That's not a solution. We need comprehensive laws where we can get out there and be more righteous than their belligerents. When they did their COVID hoax, they made laws to not enforce any type of criminal act. That was they get out of jail card. So while they're meanwhile doing more criminal acts, like their continued acts in the courts of suppressing access to the courts to take people's children. This is December 23rd. I got my Navy hat on. This is my enlistment anniversary here. The 25th, that would be 25th year. If it's the 23rd of 99, that'll make this the 25th year. Is the math right with that, or is that the 24th? In any case, it was 99 of December 23rd in the year 1999. And so I got to represent for my fleet. And yeah, that's a travesty to allow them to steal my interaction with my son from them courts and what they're doing with other people's children so that they could promote this lunacy. I will sign the executive orders to end child sexual mutilation, get transgender out of the military and out of our elementary schools and middle schools and high schools, he said, drawing cheers from the crowd. Under the Trump administration, it will be the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female, he continued, as he also vowed to keep men out of women's sports. Doesn't sound too complicated, does it? Trump railed off against transgender rights several days after the Senate gave the green light to Pentagon's ginormous $895 annual budget. Let me make this print here a little bit bigger. I'm getting blind. Now, Trump railed off against transgender rights. I don't like that verbiage from the New York Post. You're supposed to be conservative. I mean, I don't understand what's a right about a lifestyle and again, it's lunacy, quite frankly, as the president has said. I agree. You know, it's a complete lunacy, and it's a psychological impairment, and so don't give it any type of authority morally by calling it a right. And the strict coverage of the transgender medical treatments for children of military members. The Senate passed the 1,800-page National Defense Authorization Act. And see, that's why they want to allow that type of funding for it. And so you're going to be promoting, because it's still not going to be prevalent in two-parent homes mostly. And so you're going to be encouraging service personnel to divorce from their husband and then get this funding for their children. And then these are, we know that, traditionally recruits for the armed forces are from veterans. And so, again, you see the cycle that's that's socially being engineered there. While NDAs historically garner bipartisan support, Republicans managed to slip the provision on transgender health care through, much to the displeasure of Democrats. Okay? Okay, they say there are some 10,000 transgender youth aged 6 to 22 with parents active in the military, according to an estimate from the Modern Military Association of America. So this shows you how meticulous they are in their social engineering. 10,000 is a small number. It shows you how they're directly involved with people who are from the age of 6 to 22, especially those younger ages of 6, because a 6-year-old isn't in a mental capacity to determine that they're of a, of another sexual orientation, okay, especially if it's involving surgery, which is going to be the prevalent situation in these cases. So these are situations where they're studying the parents and have a foresight somehow that this parent is going to be able, maybe from some type of ratio of proportions based on their methods of promotion of the mindset, they can forecast that from this brainwashing that they'll get this certain amount of numbers who will decide to go along with the social engineering to subjugate their children to and also just from their other channels, such as, like I said, when you have a situation where I'm the non-offended custodial parent and you have a mother who may be in a situation where they can then take the child and then alienate the father through the courts and condition the child, or don't have a father who maybe is intimidated by the harassment and the outright subjugation and kidnapping that they're intimidated from dealing with the courts for one reason or another, and then the courts, have know from this, and also, as I said, from putting in the placements, having these other homosexual predators ready and aligned to take the kids from those situations so they can get immediate placement with. They know that from this type of evil social engineering that they can expect these types of numbers to say, we'll want to be, who qualify for their definition of being transgender. And so that's why I say it's important that I think the jobs are gonna do a lot for that Trump is gonna create. Is gonna do a lot for families. It's gonna do a lot for families, but you have to have policy as well for empowerment of the father's rights, so that so the independence isn't seen as being something that should be at the man's expense. Independence of female liberation should not be at the men's expense of having their relationship infringed upon with the children. And that's that's a prevailing theme in these courts, that that you have to have a sanctuary against, if you want to be if you want to have a root cause solution for the lunacy that you're addressing here. Again, that ties back to the last address that we just did about the pardons. Again, he's came out and now pardoned people on, he made it systematic and did a death row type of situation. Again, I think the father's rights, and having our sanctuary states with some conservative states who will respect our relationship with our children, and then the PPP situation to be another one. When you talk about that entrapment with the PPP loans, can be also a pardon situation that'd be of substance, I think, for the president to consider. And yeah, man, look forward for the Free Life Records. I'm going to be having a lot of collaborations that's upcoming with these posts. I'll be able to get some artist requirements that, again, the social media is requiring me to do. So have to have a little bit more frequency with the video. So have some patience with that, and glossing that up and having that being dynamic with the, with the creative poetry that's been consistent throughout my career as an MC. I didn't get a chance to do the webinar. I got to do a better job as well as getting out here and getting some people that, getting people some opportunities that I get with the skilled trades and sharing some strategy for an ecosystem for skilled tradesmen that I think could be vibrant solutions for a lot of specifically for Generation Z mindsets. I think this would be complementary towards in the workforce, and it's not to I think you'll find that it's not antagonistic towards making the jobs the bad guy. I'm not trying to get into those types of games. I think we want to create prosperity. We want to be empowered as workers to seek multiple means of prosperity, and I think that we want to explore. A company. It doesn't have to mean that a company will be vulnerable from partnering with our empowerment. And that's one of the main things I think throughout history that the friction is there from. I think that's a big part of it. When you say you hear about the slogan of we want workers, not thinkers. I think we can have thinkers, and we can also have prosperous companies at the same time. And so We're going to be exploring that with our webinars with the Grand Marine staffing. I'm going to continue to have strategy and initiatives that's complementary to that. Blackforumsolution.com. Unfortunately, some things has, with my repatriation as far as with recording the honorable counselor, it's reached some snag points, and so we're still gonna have an infusion with the forum that has cultural attire and garments, and have some of those collaborations. But me and the honorable counselor, though, we have some at this juncture here, there's room for reconciliation, I believe, but it'll be with some time for us to have some reconciliation that'll allow us to be collaborative again with things such as what we had going with the institute there in Kampala. And so that's unfortunate. I'm not going to say any bad things about it. I think it's a burden for a long distance for me to have it at that long. We've been courting for long distance for almost 5 years now. And so that's a long time for pressure for a young woman. And so, I can't say anything bad out of that. We have a lot of outstanding, great accomplishments that, are still are of great substance, and it'd be hard to let go. A lot of the things that we've done that I think should be maintained, that's, for the collective and Pan-African agenda. But, for right now, we'll just be, respectful with our break, and if a reconnection with reconciliation, we know the potential is there, and we can explore that potentiality in the future. And, but, I'm still going to be looking forward to doing, as I said, forum events as well, and doing free life related creative contributions as an MC. And, even with this post here, doing the post that I need to get my artist page up, and I'll be able to, have some of those segments in here, some of the musical segments. And also got I'm gonna redrop that affirmation measure. I'm doing mixes on that for that affirmation measure. That's like 19 tracks. And supporting that, I also want to throw in that Trials and Tribulation project that I did with the Dayton, Ohio family. Here's Ruckus in 2004. So have that available as part of the as part of the ongoing having alternates to just complaining about what we see in the music, and then of course having fresh talent that I'm going to be in collaboration with. Have a lot of collaboration series going right now with Anno Domini. A lot of collaborations with Wu-Tang artists. I got something with Tunchi. Got a Papoose track that I just uploaded. I'm going to be doing mixes on that. I'm not the best engineer. So, of course, reaching out to us, being part of our ecosystem will have opportunities to always have access to the updates of those remixes. Or, of course, if you was to buy a selection, and then, you hear a new mix, or, if you just ask, hey, for the next recent mix, and you purchase it before, I'll definitely always, shoot you the most recent mix that we have on a particular track or project that you've, supported. Or if you support it in other ways, that you'll find. If you supported forum events, as we have our events, and you come out to those, and you want to have some access to some type of musical contribution, we want to be, have those means of being brotherly for, people who are treating us like family and supporting us. I want to continue to garner support on my justice reform or my personal initiatives, so that when I make the next motion for the Supreme Court, or what's the word for that's the word I was looking for, lobbyists, We want to lobby for policy towards these fathers' rights. You know, I'm gonna need some support towards that as well, so I can ensure that my efforts is not you know, wasted for them to just align it with some DEI appointee to they're all gonna have stories, sob stories about how they're discriminated against. But when it's time to have true representation of someone who can you know, be fatherly or be of substance, you know, their and self-determination, their positioning in that situation is to be against that, you know. And so, you know, you have to have a collective body in those circumstances to let them know that they're facing scrutiny, for them to do the right thing. And you know, that I'm gonna need that support, you know, for the next stage of my legal battle for my baby boy, or as I said, you know, lobbying other types of efforts. You know, if you can give sanctuary states to, you know, to people who are from the country, you need to give those to fathers. And then again, that these sanctuary states will not be about alienating mothers. I think it's been proven that when you have the fathers who are ahead of the household, even if it's a single parent household, you're gonna have outstanding results. And so, and they don't have a history of the alienation that's been prevalent with the feminist aspects of child court and divorce courts and removing the fathers and those type of litigations. And so we need some executive branch thunder and lightning in that regard from the president. And I'm hoping that that can be something that the president can give some consideration. I'm going to continue to follow up with that. And yeah, man, blackforumsolution.com. It's the boy Lamont MC, Mungu, Umeme. Free Life Records since 2004. There was another aspect that I wanted to include in this here address about I have a reaction to a recent video that I saw with Dr. Umar, and I thought it sounded kind of defeatist. You know, I hate to be divisive in this, you know, in disagreement in the post about the brother. I did see a better interview that he had with Nick Cannon, and that realistic approach to marital. It's not going to be allowed in the U.S., so you have to have that as being a Pan-African reintegration structure for your family until we can lobby to the U.S. to have that besides Utah. And so, yeah, the address that I had some concern about was him saying that black men would be incapable if the government was to take all of the funding away from black women, that the black men would be incapable of being worthy of the respect from the black women because we wouldn't be able to step up to the plate. And I just thought that that's another example where I think that that's an unfounded a projection. It's an unfounded projection. When you talk about, you know, our history shows the complete opposite right after the most heinous of circumstances as far as our ability to be providers. After the most heinous of circumstances as prisoners of war, you know, we were then, you know, some of the greatest providers and contributors of intellectual capital. And so and still are contributors to intellectual capital, but that's been impaired when you talk about the impact that's been against the two-parent homes. And so that's an impact on intellectual capital. And so that's a national security concern as far as where we would be without those innovations and inventions and things that you're supposed to be able to continue to expect if you have the households in the order that they're supposed to be. And so again, Dr. Umar, I believe, has it wrong when he says that we're incapable of being, stepping up to the plate and developing our households and being inspirational to those households to contribute, you know, merit to society. I don't think that's founded. I think that's I don't think that's what you need to do. And then you have a situation as well where you have that being forced back on them because Elon Musk and Vivek, they're not playing with the budget cuts, and so we already hearing situations of we're already hearing situations of people rejecting the funds that's allotted for the destruction of the households. We hear about, I hear all this whining about, gentrification. That's like, throwing up your fist for Black Panthers now. If you talk or say something about gentrification, get the hell out of here, man. If you had two-parent households, you'll be able to afford any of those houses of those yuppies who you're saying gentrified you see? And so you need to prepare and be encouraged from people like Dr. Umar that once these handout funds get cut off, that you are going to need to be seeking, to hatch your golden eggs, with your significant other. You got to hatch your golden egg from the ratchetness of these Section 8s. That's what you're going to have to do. And so I think that we have precedent of stepping up to the plate, and I don't think that Dr. Umar is on substantiated opinions when he say that we can't step up to the plate and be fatherly and providers. I think that's a defeated message against the leadership that we need right now when we're about to have those cuts. We're about to have those cuts and against that spending. And we're going to have cuts against that spending. And then when we have the cuts against that spending, we're going to have great job creation. You see the job, Anton Daniels is saying Trump punked them. And the last report I saw was the $100 billion. And the bank said, no, we're going to do $200 billion. And so that's going to be the spirit of companies coming back. They're talking about tariffs as if any business that is being impacted can't be created here. That's ridiculous. Any business that's impacted can be created here, and it can be of quality, and it doesn't have to take long for that to occur. And so, and then that's going to encourage competitive pricing, even from the imports, even with the tariff. And so I'm looking forward to January and the jobs. And again, I need to be I'm having the consistency with my canvassing for the Grand Marine staffing and getting you guys multiple options that you're seeking with job placement. And so I'll be doing that. blackformsolution.com. Be looking forward to that. Got this joint with Young Pop Post. Hard hitters. Jotting with the rise, sacred God with us against the odds. Poet, scribe, and thrillers, witty barrage, chill scars, street trial literature, the bottle better, all the bars with the hard hitters, jotting with the rise, sacred, God protect us from the odds. Poets who scribe, witty barrage, chill scars, literature, the bottle better, all the bars. Got the best song notes like Evandros. Plant accreditation trainer help the scammer claiming clout. Famous solitary big cats. Name initiatives that you about. Besides rapping about the shooter's route. Hurting your stepson, reasonable doubt. The jury chaplain for time easing. Focused on the wrong ship captain. Libation, Remy Love on the block. Heard he mapped the easy. Still time to get a back. My birthed another man's seed. Lowered the marital worth. My tears used to clean a dirty window with the newspaper that I viewed. Sad mood like I'm Sam cooking on a few the family. It ain't like us to plagiarize. Glad the trick sued. Apologize for usurping at my rap rhymes. Grammarine's verse like a landmine. Illest deployed sailor with the high hidden note. With the high hidden poise for the mind.